Unfortunately, they are so big, the first and the last scenes, the chapel scenes, that we had to drop them, of course, which is a pity, because there you get to see Whitmore at his best, or maybe at his worst, because he comes across as something of a bully, actually. He's there spouting biblical...
Reverend, it's only me.
People have been looking all over for you. Your mother is distressed out of her mind, only for you to pop out of nowhere like nothing's happened. Child, you've fallen into the clutches of unbelievers who deceived and abused you.
Can't you listen for once?
I understand.
Love. But you also say he demands, he expects. The offerings of sufferings and pain is testimony of our total submission to his will.
Watch your words, child. You're treading on dangerous...
Come on, John Maria. I'm sure you have something to say.
Well, I guess from what I got here today, that it's probably a 3-act structure.
Because nobody drinks between acts. No, it's intended to be one. It's about twice the length of what we have here, because things build up slowly. There are so many nuances which we miss out.
You are building to a climax.
Yeah, this is more or less a by the way, those, her final words, crazy evangelistic preacher. I mean, to build up, so you get this.
He claimed to have stigmata, right?
Yeah. He claimed a lot of things, and the weeping statues and all the rest of it. Because it's my friend here, name please?
My name? Pestel.
Isn't it? We do tend to enter our bubble and stick to it. That's all, that's it. But there is another word going out there. And unless you get at least, not to believe as they do, but at least, this is us, mainstream Europe. And we have this. I don't know about you, maybe up there you don't have it that strong. But
We have it.
but not as much, I'm sure, not as much as in the south. We have more.
But have you invited the evangelical Christians to see the plays?
I would love to.
Yeah, you should really do that.
Yeah, I would love
I
to.
think that would be the most interesting. I would love to listen to their feedback, actually.
I think what the gentleman's trying to say is like, if I understood what you're saying is, in the context of the piece, because it's just obviously a short read, it is very easy, us over here saying, this is rubbish, these people are rubbish. So how is it written in a way that their point really comes across strongly? Because at the end of the day, there's still flesh and blood.
That's what I thank you for saying that, Mark. What we have seen here is slightly less than one half of the play, I would say. What do you think? Something like that. Let's say half the play. And when I talked to the readers here, I sent them 2 texts. The full text, so that they could get the feel of it and how it builds up. And the reading we had to cut down for today. Without the first, I don't think we would have got here in the second.
Which kind of scenography do you have in mind?
Pardon?
Which kind of scenography do you have in mind?
Set design. I see. All right. That is something we have to settle. We have to something to do. I see it as happening everywhere and nowhere. Nothing particular. Now, having said that, you would think that the Malories would tow it slowly towards Britain. Is the Irish group here? Oh yes.
The Irish. She is the group.
Okay. I suppose, for example, there is things like, she passed her A levels. In the real text, I have, she passed her university entrance exams. Because it could be Maturita, it could be what you have in Germany, Arbeit, what it's called, you see? I don't want it to tie it down to one particular. If need be, we change the names as well. Even if it's, but I wanted one Belgian and one Italian on purpose. This is an EU project after all. I wanted an Italian because they reflect a little bit of us, Maltese. I don't know her beliefs and I don't care about it, where she is present now. But in the play, she had a mother who died of cancer and she looked after her. I mean, all it took was 6-7 lives to get it, full stop. But even if she has become atheistic now, or liberal now, her roots would have to be carried along with her wherever she goes. She is actually one who is ready to pray. They have an old faith chapel. You have them all over the place now. An old faith chapel where everybody, Muslims, Hindus, can go and pray if they want to. In our hospital chapel, we have them. And she is actually one who goes to pray with them if necessary. She goes along during the play. In a way that is you and me. To marry. As she goes along. Until he comes to it. He's so task-driven. He wants the kids to see them well again and on their feet at a cost. They sort of complement each other, the doctor. They build each other. Yes, please.
At first, I lost a fellow in my class for the same reason, religiosity, and family said no. And so we had to cry for him before he was dead.
How old was she?
15 years old. But to lose humanity in order to give the absolute of the cliché.
Oh.
If I have humanity of fear, of doubt, of the father that I saw in life, I can live in the doubt to try to understand. If I look directly this kind of father and this kind of Christ, I don't believe. I don't believe because for me it's the perfect cliche that everybody uses in order to protect, in order to don't be affected by the drama.
Yeah.
And the drama is that a man believes deeply that his prayers is God's word, and that the father is suffering, is dying when he's a child, but he had to choose and to leave to God decisions his child. So if I look at the extent, I'm not against the story and not against the word said. I'm making the middle public that more humanity. I share the drama. I understand.
Do you have enough humanity in the father?
No, for me it's too near the image, the public image, the cliché of a father that is not able to choose. But the big problem for me is the role of the father. Really, I played there the middle public that needs something to love, in order to love each character and understand.
We don't have to love him.
Oh no,
There's not enough to take him.
really just like boat and outstairs.
Statistically, I went through the statistics. Statistically, it's predominantly the man who breaks test. The father, and the doctors know it, not in this case, I didn't make it that obvious, but they go after the father rather than the mother, because usually it's the father who breaks first. Now, if you feel that there is not enough humanity, this is what we are here for. I'll look into it, definitely. As regards him, okay, I have to think about it, because, as I told you, some of the videos
So it's clear that cutting iron a lot of things that the father says, father feels. It's clear for me. I'm just really making to myself the question how I can stay really in the mood, the sensible mood of the tragedy without expressing judgment. Because directly, the father I saw and the priest I saw, my judgment is clear.
One question. But this is important for me. This is important for me. All right, you've only seen a bit of it, not all of it. Which came out stronger, the father or the mother?
Mother.
That's what I wanted, actually. So in a way, his weakness is he did not take to with more at first. He didn't like him. In a way, he was towed along by his wife and Whitmore. So, but thank you, because I have to think about it.
Let's take some final comments.
Yes.
We have to proceed.
My readers need a drink.
We all
Not me.
To put it more in a sort of language and technique perspective, I think if I interpret correctly what Oystein said and what also Anna said, but to put it at the language level, I mean, we are completely with you on the idea of making the radical religious characters Christians rather than Muslims. It's of course more challenging. But I think, absolutely. But I think what we need probably in terms of language is even more to explore even more the ambiguity and the feeling that they have, for example, towards the character of the preacher, is that sometimes his language could be even more visionary, and he could jump much less to conclusions in his lines, for example. And this would make the character so much more interesting, because someone who believes is illuminated by God and who wants to carry on something, an objective, then, is even cryptic sometimes, and it's not telling all the time people that they are devilish creatures or something like that. So I think if you explore the ambiguity of the characters, this could give the play some
There might be something of that in the first scene, but I think about it because it's a very good point. In the first scene, the first and last scenes had to be cut out because we can't have a chapel here. But in the first scene, he actually carries out therapy on 3 gay persons. And there is a little bit of what to say. But I like that because we'll put more of that in the lines which follow after. Yes, please.
I'm just curious, as a college playwright, of course, probably look now, techniques offer us some good tools, yeah? And I'm just curious, in what way was the process of writing this play different from your other playwriting? What did you take from the toolbox?
Okay. Actually, this is not my favorite type of approach, because this is rather linear. In a way, it had to be, because we're following a girl and her illness. That's the other technique which I love even better, where you have a sort of onion. There is people with secrets which come out eventually. Here, there couldn't be any secrets. It had to be straight. I mean, I couldn't make up that she was the illegitimate child of the grocer that's living next to Rose. I couldn't. You see? So I missed that, so I try to compensate with a little bit of drama and working on your harsh things without becoming melodrama. That is important.
But also, I think it would be worth, for example, of the character of the father, to work on some character age etude, because normally these people who become radicalized normally have had some kind of shock in their early life and in their youth. So it's also, it can be very interesting, even at the language level, to explore the different ages of the character. And I think this also would add to the ambiguity which, I think it is worth exploring in this play, from what I've seen, from the materials that I've seen today.
So cryptic, and again, during the play, he comes out as a very good character in the other scenes. He takes to drink, he gets kicked out of his job. I mean, he's upset totally, he goes to pieces. But it's work. I mean, there are hints. With his sister, there is a little bit of talk of a very dominant mother. But it's, to be honest, I didn't have this in mind when I wrote it. Okay, cryptic and a little bit of Mr. Becker.
Yes, but I mean, I think on just what you described and just picking up on what you're saying in terms of especially the preacher, all of these motivations are completely understandable apart from the preacher because it's a cliche.
There's
You know,
reason.
but they are. They're
They're not
everywhere.
cliches.
But the point is why, and what is it that makes somebody, I think, just cling on or just cling to a religion and then enforce it on somebody? What is missing in them? What is the thing
I know.
that
Many lines of thinking we can follow as a playwright. But of course, the thing, what is happening in that? What's happening between him and the girl? Not just on the plot level, but what's actually the event. What's going on? And what's it saying?
What I wanted to bring out was, I hope it came out, definitely not completely, I was scribbling like crazy over there, is the power he had over her mother and father, and she went along because of the little baby which died, etc. etc. And then she starts waking up slowly that he is a fake. But unfortunately, because of her age, and I suppose it would hit anybody in this room, she hasn't got quite an answer. She hasn't got a counter.
But what does it do to him? What does that discovery do to him?
Yeah, that's...
All right. I had that in shorthand. Obviously, it did not come out strongly enough. Marvel, you hinted at that. We hint that he went to America during, it is said, I remember that part, and he came back. Something happened. In fact, when she threatens him with the police, on a real stage, Manuel would react, oh my God, the police.
There is a nasty past.
There's a nasty part of it. It comes out in...
That is being triggered in that.
I don't know whether it is strong enough. Definitely in this one, it doesn't seem to have come across strongly enough. We'll have to burnish that a little bit.
Yeah.
Look, it's also Scottish rights, so, you know, it's hard
No, but
to
it's
tell.
always an interesting question. I mean, it's just a very
No,
basic
please.
question. What goes on with that scene?
No, this is what I want. This is what I need.